Welcome to essentially episode 3 of classes and how to use them. I have this couple of functions that let me do a bunch of stuff. Essentially, they are for tracking shows that I watch. Here's the JSON file that I operate on. I have a couple of commands. A command to set the episode that I watched, a command to set the episode that I downloaded, a command that opens the link to the next episode after the one that I watched, and same but with downloaded. Also an option to delete shows, set the link, and a couple of stuff like that. Essentially a bunch of stuff that operate on the same thing, and that makes me think that this is heavily class sizable. Essentially, this could really use classes. And as it is now, it has a bunch of stuff that sorta kinda repeats, but not really. So JSON parse read file paths point to file shows is something that happens multiple times here. So this could easily be a instance variable instead of being repeated once and once again. So first of all, we're going to implement a feature that I want. So I watched up to episode 3, including that. However, I don't remember when I finished watching episode 3. So I don't know when was the last time I made the change. The closest specificity that I can get to is by looking through my commits of this repo. However, I really don't push commits that often, like from time to time, so it's going to be very imprecise. So I'm going to have another property, something like timestamp, that would have the date and time and so on of the last change that happened, but specifically the last time I updated the episode property. So I want to implement that. However, it's probably going to be much easier to do once I convert all of this into classes. So I don't really have it all figured out. So as we go, I'm going to figure it out on video. Couple of thoughts. First of all, JSON parse read file so on will be in the new method. So when I do shows, then boom, and to call something, so while this is happening, a bunch of variables will be set up. The main one being JSON parse read file paths point to file shows. That, that sounds like the cryptic bunch of stuff in the main method of Java and C#. Has as many abstractions, by the way. JSON, I mean, sure. What does parse mean? You have to kind of learn what that means first, and then you know it. Read file, what is that? My function. Path, huh? My class. Point to file? Well, you wouldn't know that it actually means point to file. You don't really need to, but yeah. Nevertheless, that is going to become an instance variable. And a few other stuff. Maybe some checkers. And also I'll have a method of creating a blank show, just taking the name, and then I can update whatever. Okay, let's get to it. This will have a lot of confusion, but really fun, because not only do I want to show off things that I have already accomplished, I want to help you understand the process of programming overall, how you approach an issue, what you see in it, and how you turn it into something else or how you solve it. Because seeing the results, sure, is very helpful, but seeing the process can also help you learn. First of all, let's look through every function I have currently and try to think what we should start out with. First of all, JSON parse all this. Pretty much immediately, let's write the new method, so far with no arguments. As of now, I don't quite see what arguments it could have. So this shows is, and then we jump here. I won't delete stuff for now, I'll just copy it. Okay, so when we have a new show, or rather when we interact with the show, we parse the JSON into an object, well, technically a map, immediately, whether or not we need it, really. We most likely do, though. Okay, so we already have the parsed JSON. I feel like it would be a good idea to have the opposite too, a method to essentially apply the JSON onto a file. Let's write it right now, actually. Apply JSON. And it will write file, paths point to file shows, and it will write JSON stringify. Oh my god, my cat is meowing, hold on. The kitten is officially in the room. Cool, I'm recording. So, JSON stringify, and we take this shows as the JSON object that we stringify and write into the file. Actually, that could be converted into a arrow function. Usually there's not much need to do that, but I just really like arrow functions. Be careful with them, by the way, because say you want to modify this code later, well, now you have to go through the annoyance of turning it into a normal function. However, if you use Vim, that's not as much of a problem. There's an argument to be made that you can be almost as effective with pure VS Code, and some extensions, of course, as you would be in Vim. I just think that Vim lets you just learn the working system, really good working system, instead of having to create your own. That would be objectively worse. There would be a lower skill ceiling just using VS Code compared to Vim. So I really recommend it. Nevertheless, so we got the shows. We no longer need to have this line ever, because it will be there. We have shows, and that is perfect. When I refactor stuff, I generally delete things. So let me just show it off. So I already don't need this, so I just delete it. Okay, what's the next thing that I want to tackle? Try shows show. What does that mean? Essentially, I want to check if the show, for example, Daredevil, exists. And if you try to access an object or a map or pretty much anything that doesn't exist, then there is an error, which we catch. Okay, first of all, this should be this shows show. Perfect. Show by itself is a parameter. So this should work pretty much the same way. And here we also do this, show link. Okay, return, yes, because we're getting the link here. Okay, this shows here, and this shows here. So far I'm not seeing much that I should change, but that's so far. Will be different eventually. So boom. Cool, we got get link. However, let's look at it again. So we try to you know what, we likely need to check if a show exists in multiple occasions. And right now, let's try to see whether we do. Set link. I'm not really seeing it. I might be blind. Oh, yeah, kinda. I'm not sure what I want from this yet, but I feel like it would be a good idea to have a checker that would basically check if a show exists. Oh my god. Cats are adorable creatures. They come in, say meow, and then come out. I mean, sure then. So, this, at least I feel like, should be a separate method now. Okay, let's call it validate show. And here we grab this. I guess we delete it. We don't need it there. And paste it. Oh my god. I fucked it all up. Okay, this should be good. Not sure why the indentation there broke, but okay. Cool. So try this show. If we get any errors, then we'll return nothing. Actually, I want to return a boolean. Return false. Otherwise, we return true, as in, yes, it is good. Okay, cool. Oh, first of all, we should do this. Cool. Now we can validate show. So if not validate, this validate show, and we pass show, then we return. So the show didn't validate. If there is no show, we return out of the function, and we do still get that info that I want. Perfect. Coming to this, if not shows show. Okay, so if it doesn't have a link, so it's essentially the same thing, actually. Okay, let's create another method. Validate show link. Show. Yeah, here we're just checking if there is a link property at all. I don't think we need to check whether the link is correct or not, because it's just kind of unnecessary. I'll just see when it doesn't work and fix it. No need to overfix everything. Over-engineering is the root of all evil, as they say. However, I'm kind of iffy on that statement, because it just sounds like people want to have worse code. Like, let's be real here. It's kind of strange. So, let's get this. Delete it also. Paste it. Okay, and like it was there, I want to return false and return true. Yeah, that's actually all we needed. It says no show in an info or no link. But validate show link. I want to... So if we're trying to validate show link, then there has to be show. So I want to call validate show from within validate show link. See, there's the rule in solid, meaning single responsibility, but it's still doing one thing, just safer. So I think it's good. Like, it's okay. Validate show link, or rather validate show, and we pass show. So if not, then return false. If there's no show, there's no show link either. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And now, okay, we're expecting a string. Cool. So if not this validate show link, we do show, then return. And we would already have all the infos that would tell us the information that we need. Oh, yeah. We return an empty string. Yeah, wow. This is actually much nicer than I expected. I don't quite remember. We definitely will need validate show again. Not sure about validate show link though. Nevertheless, that's pretty nice. This line is immediately not needed. Get shows. Yeah. I think it's this. Yeah. A command that lets me check what I'm currently watching. I really don't use it though. I'll still implement it. I think it's good to have. I usually just go into the JSON. I should use it more, definitely. Well, this is very easily implementable. We just go ahead and rename it. Oh, come on. So it doesn't even auto format, but it's okay. So for key value in this shows, we show an infos with the key. With the key, really? With the key, yes, because in this case, these are keys, and the value is this entire object. Confused me for a bit, but yeah, it makes sense. By the way, you might see how often I use braces on single line ifs, loops, and stuff like that. The reason for that is, say I want to do something else, like maybe I'm testing something out and I want to add a out statement, which, by the way, let me show you off. Here it is. Essentially, you can give it a string that it writes into this testing file. Really useful. But if I didn't have braces there, I would now have to add them. And then after I'm done testing, it would probably be a good idea to remove them as well. And it's just kind of all over the place. But if I always use braces in every single situation, it's really consistent. And you might say that it removes a bit of readability. I see that sentiment. However, it doesn't apply to me anymore. It would if there are many levels of nesting, but I don't usually have many levels of nesting because I use guard clauses very often. This is a guard clause, for example, and this is as well. This could be written in a different fashion, like if this validates show and then nesting, if this shows link, and it would look far more messy than this, like 1 check, 2 check, so on. Get shows was very easy to implement. Now show run. Try run show get link. Get link. Do we have that? Absolutely. It, at least in theory, works perfectly. What is try run? And by the way, that should be this. Try run, it tries to run a link. If that link is incorrect in any fashion, then we get an info saying the link fucked up, and we return out of the function. I don't think we need to change anything here. I'm seeing show a lot. I was thinking of adding it to the new method, but it makes far more sense to just pass it as a parameter, because usually I give it there and then it goes down into the functions. Passing makes more sense than making it an instance variable, in my opinion. Okay, so cool. Do we need to change anything here? First of all, this show get link. Oh, and we remove the show. Aside from that, no. So we change this as well. Oh, well, that's kind of annoying. I think well, let's check whether or not I can just call it run. I think I should be able to, because it's in a class and not just anywhere. I can, and interestingly enough, did you notice how it had this highlighting while outside of a class, but now when it's inside of a class, it's highlighted as my function or method now. Wow, Thugby, I'm impressed. I'm legit impressed. Thugby, by the way, is the creator of the extension for AutoHotkey that I'm using. It's been great, amazing to use, but that is just something that I did not expect. Wow, 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 really cool. So yeah, indeed, there are no issues as I expected and wanted to not have any. Okay. If I remember correctly, I now have a Chrome class. I don't. So I have Spotify, I have YouTube, but I don't yet have a Chrome. I don't have any functions for Chrome, interestingly enough. That's surprising. Okay, well, in that case, I'll just leave it there. I want to have the win title in a class of Chrome. Well, what stops me in implementing it just for that one thing? True. Okay, so let's go to YouTube and class Chrome static when title Google Chrome HKexe Chrome exe. Cool, now I can just use this in every single place, and whenever I need to change it, say I change my browser, I will only have to change it in one place. Same thing that I have with my paths. Perfect. So Chrome when title, and it looks nicer too. Delete show. That's the same thing that we don't need. We try to delete a show and then write to it. The write file and all that is actually now apply JSON. Oof, I like the name, by the way. I think it's neat. No parameters, right? Yep, makes sense. Cool, so we try to delete. If we couldn't delete, oh no, not if we couldn't delete. We try to delete if there is that. And regardless, well, this looks pretty confusing now that I look at it. So we add the name of the deleted show to the consumed file with the timestamp of when it was watched, or rather deleted, and if it was dropped, there's this like dropped thing. Fire Force was really meh. This was hilarious though. This was fucking scary. So, and even though usually, see how all of this is lowercase, it becomes title case. One thing, this is not the full name of the show, it's a part of it, so Tenjo Tenge would be the full thing. But having to write it all out every single time that I need to update an episode is too annoying. So I just do it like that, and then I can change it here if I want to. It's not a big deal. This isn't the most readable, at least right out of the bat. But it's kind of whatever, to be fair. So let's change this as this apply JSON. This shows delete. So this shows delete. Paths. Yeah, no other changes needed here. Okay, maybe this does matter. It doesn't. What if we do this? Oh, I am beyond confused. Like, why is it doing that? Oh well. See, that already looks far cleaner. This could be separated as well. Do we need to? Or rather, should we? Good question, Axel Fobler. And whether you should, you'll know in the next episode. It's going to come up really soon, in 2 days. So come back for the second episode, where I do a bunch more stuff. Goodbye.